Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 6 of this processing programming tutorial series. In this episode, we'll be talking about how animation works, what it is, and how to animate things inside of processing. Animation is the illusion of motion through fast-moving still images. It's like a film. If you show enough slightly different pictures in a sequence fast enough, our eyes will start to perceive it as motion. In computer graphics, this concept is used too. We draw a slightly changing image to the screen at a certain rate. This rate is known as the frame rate, or FPS, frames per second. This is the amount of images you draw per second. Now, processing has a so-called draw function. Next episode we'll dive into functions in more depth, but for now it is enough to know that functions are basically routines. They are lines of code that you can repeatedly call. For animation, we need to draw many times a second, so that's why we have a draw function that looks like this. For now, we'll ignore the void part, just know it has to be there. Then the name of the function, parentheses, and then we have the so-called body of the function. Anything between these curly braces is executed at the frame rate, which by default in processing is 60 times a second. I also want to introduce another built-in function, setup. This function is structured practically identically to the draw function, but instead of draw has the name setup. Setup is used to set up things before we start animating. So this is the place where you, for example, set the size of the screen, load images, or do other preparations. Finally, before we start animating, I want to talk to you about variable scope. This concept means that any variable created inside a pair of these curly braces cannot be accessed outside of these braces. But the other way around, it is possible. So, if you create a variable inside of an if statement, like here on the screen, it can't be used outside of that if statement or function. But if we create a variable outside of the if statement, it can be used inside. This is a somewhat abstract topic, so don't worry if you don't fully understand variable scope. It will become more clear later on. For now, let's just get started doing some actual animation. So, let's immediately start by making the draw and setup function. As a first step, we type void, setup, parentheses, open the curly brace, and on a new line, close it. Now everything we type in between these parentheses is done during setup. So let's for now add a print line that just says setup. Next, below the setup function and outside of its function body, we make the draw function. So we type void, draw, once again parentheses, and once again open the function body with a curly brace, and on a new line, close it. Everything in between these curly braces is executed 60 times a second, and we can show that by adding another print line to this function, print line draw. Now, let's run the code and look at the output. As you see, the draw function is being repeatedly called. Now, I can't say for sure, but this should be 60 times a second. If we stop the program and scroll up in the console, we can also see that setup only ran once, exactly as we wanted. Now, let's remove both the print lines and make some actual drawing happen. First, in the setup, we'll set the size of the window to 640 by 480 pixels. And in the draw loop, we'll set the fill to white, 255, and the stroke to black, 0. Let's also draw a black background, so background 0. Now, on a new line, we draw a circle with its center on x equals 320 and y equals 240, which is the center of the screen. And the width and the height of the circle is 50. If you run this code, you can see a static circle. This is because we're drawing the circle 60 times a second, but it's not moving. To get some movement, we need to change, for example, the x-coordinate of the center of the circle. Let's do that using a variable. So, outside, above setup, we create a float called xpos that will hold the starting x position, which will be 100. Then, in the draw loop, we change the first parameter of the ellipse call into xpos. So now, the ellipse gets drawn at the x position that is defined by the xpos variable. If we run this, you can see nothing has changed apart from the circle that has moved slightly to the left. So, let's change the xpos variable slowly over time. every time we draw, I want to increase the x position by 1. So, in the draw loop, we type xpos equals xpos plus 1. We can also use the shortened version xpos plus plus, which does the same thing. Now, if we run this code, you can see the circle moves. We managed to get animation, but we can also add another variable, a float called speed, that will control how fast the ball moves. So let's make it 2. And if we change in the draw loop xpos plus plus to xpos plus equals speed, which means add the speed to the x position, we can see that when we run it, the ball now moves twice the speed, or if we change speed to 4, even faster. Now let's keep it at 1 for now. I want to add one final thing. Let's make it stop at the edge of the screen. So we need an if statement in the draw loop that checks every time if the xpos is already at the edge of the screen. So we type if, open parentheses, xpos is larger than 590, close parentheses, and open a curly brace, and on a new line close it. Now in between these braces we want to set the speed to 0 to make the circle stop moving. If you run the code, you can see that the ball now stops at the edge of the screen. Every time the computer draws a circle, so 60 times every second, it also checks if the xpos is larger than 590, and if it is, it sets the speed to 0 to prevent it from going further outside of the screen. As an exercise for yourself, see if you can also add some movement on the y-axis, and maybe even make it turn around instead of stop at the edges. But for now, this is the end of this episode. So, to recap, in this episode we learned about what animation is and how animation works in processing using the built-in functions draw and setup. We also learned that variables can't be accessed outside of the code block or curly bracket block that they were created in. In the next episode, we'll continue on a topic that we briefly touched upon here, because then we'll be talking about functions.